All right, we are back for the semifinals of the Pro Sport Accessories TCG Weekend Modern 20K. It's pretty exciting. I'm ready to see how the decks are unfolding, see how the modern format's turning out at the top tables.
I'm going to predict a bunch of big guys and counterspell. That's what I've been seeing all day.
We do have deck lists here, so it looks like Ethan is playing a Yorion list. Ooh, I'm just going to call it Yorion Good Stuff. I mean, that's not the official name, but that's what I like to call it. I mean, we've got Teferi, Renin 6, Eternal Witness, Fury, Ice Fang Quaddle, Omnath, Solitude, just ramp, bolts, just good cards.
Good cards.
Outvalue your opponent. And Matthew is rocking a Luris list. It looks like Hammer Time.
Stop. Hammer Time.
So we're going to go ahead and go down to our feature match and see how this is going to play out. The higher seed, I believe, is Ethan, so he will be on the play. We'll go ahead and head down to the feature match, though, and get it. There we go. All right, so they are resolving their mulligans.
Looks like we got our Yorion player on our left. Hammer Time on our right.
Yeah, Matthew is, in fact, on Hammer Time. So with that in mind, the fact that Matthew is not on the play might give the Yorion player that much more of an advantage. It gives him time to build and find answers, make land drops.
The magic number is 5. That's what it costs to cast a Yorion. So
it is. Now, I hope for his sake that he's not spending 3 mana in the first 5 turns to put Yorion in his hand. He probably wants to be developing and killing the threats. But if it turns out to be that way, best case scenario is that he just isn't being smacked by a hammer.
Well, one of the traps I could see players falling into is trying to fight the hammer. Hammer doesn't do anything if they don't have creatures. They just kill their creatures. They'll just be staring there at a bunch of hammers they can't pick up. All right, starting off with a land. One of the side effects of playing Yorion is you do have an 80-card deck. That does mean fetches take a little bit longer. So basic forest here.
Yeah, choosing only to go to 19 when he activated that fetch lane. He doesn't want to go too low and die to... I don't even know. I guess hammer usually hits pretty hard, but sometimes the tokens from that Urza Saga can create a pretty fast quant too.
That is true.
So I'm trying to think to myself, what are the priority cards I'm wanting to sequence here?
Okay, we've got an Esper Sentinel into a Mimnite, turn 1. From Ethan.
Not the absolute stone fastest turn 1. There's no what's that white enchantment called? Slipped my mind.
Cigar's Aid.
Yeah. Cigar's Aid into like 0-drop hammers. Colossus on turn 2 is like best case scenario. But you can actually still do that on turn 2. Maybe it's hiding it.
Well, what's interesting here is this Esper Sentinel is going to go a long way towards helping the Hammer Time player stay in the game and not get valued out. Because every time he plays something, he's got to pay 1 or more.
I don't think he has. I was going to say there's a good chance he could still be hit for 11 here, but he does not have the hammer. So very modest attack for 2.
But he got that Urza Saga going, and that is a massive value engine. The fact that you basically get 2 giant boys out of it and you get to tutor for, the best card in your deck is almost always going to be worth sacrificing a land. All right, so we're already going for the breeding pool. Turn 2, shocking it in. Ethan dropping down to 16. Looks like he's going to make a Ice Fang Quaddle play, drawing a card. Now he's got like a pretty awesome blocker to take out that Esper Sentinel. Now, all right, looks like we're going to the end of turn 2. Oh, playing a Stoneforge Mystic.
I wonder what he's going to find.
Yeah, this is probably not that complicated. He's clearly going for Hammer. Sometimes you'll see him grab Shadow Spear if they've already got a pretty clogged up board because the lifelink may be more important in more of an aggressive matchup. In this matchup, it's probably going to be Hammer every time.
Okay, so here's a weird question. Do you think Mjolnir is trademarked?
I don't believe it is. It's only the depiction of it that was listed in the Marvel movies, because it is technically a relic of Norse mythology, so that can't really be owned as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
All right, we got a Utopia Sprawl coming out, trying to ramp up, trying to get to that magic 5 to 8.
That might be Abundant Harvest. I need to double check here.
Oh, it does look like it is Abundant Harvest.
I think it's Abundant Harvest.
It's
basically
kind of the same.
Well, wait, no. Utopia Sprawl accelerates you. Abundant Harvest is not, but it does draw a card. So I mean, in a different way, it's.
All right, and we did see that really cool interaction where Spreading Seas is basically Sinkhole against Urza Saga, because Sagas require their Saga counters to work, and so if it keeps its Saga type but loses all of its Saga abilities, goes to the graveyard.
Yeah,
as Saga rules.
Not the most intuitive interaction, but that is how it works. Stoneforge Mystic just generating value. Now, multiple Stoneforge Mystics and multiple hammers aren't always great. As you can see, he's actually opting not to go for it because he doesn't have a clear path to use these hammers now. So building up toward a more longevity with the cranial plating is good, but the fact that he didn't pull any of the tokens off of Urza Saga means this plating's not going to hit that hard yet.
Yeah, I think he's hoping to draw another Urza Saga. That's probably his big brain plan here. But this is that point you don't really want to be his hammer time. He's in this sort of like, he's got a slow clock. He missed his third land drop. He's not really developing pressure. He's like developing resources, and this just gives Yorion time to filter through his deck, build up his mana, and set up to that one big turn where he just like blinks everything and just goes way ahead of you.
Yeah, Ethan's only at 11 life.
Not for long though.
So that means this Omnath is going to really help swing it back in his favor.
Yeah, he can't.
I don't know. Does Hammer Time have an efficient way to answer this Omnath?
They could be playing Path to Exile. I don't really see them play that very much. So
I've seen a few play Dispatch, but that's not really what you want to be doing. There's a Cigar's Aid, and it could help him go over the top of this Omnath.
Yeah, it looks like we're threatening lethal next turn. I mean,
if he wants to, he could wait a turn and hope he gets a land drop and try to one-shot him with this Inkmoth, but I don't think that's what... I think you want to just get rid of this Omnath. No, he's just going for the straight damage. He's like, I don't care about your Omnath.
Right, looks like we've got an answer from the Omnath player. Playing a Subtlety. Trying to protect the Omnath. Now, the side effect of that is, now that hammer's just kind of sitting there.
Yeah, that's usually what happens. So he's going to have to find a Pierce Steel Paladin, and that Pierce Steel Paladin wouldn't even work right now. Omnath is looking pretty strong on this battlefield.
Gaining 4 life. What's such a beating is when they can play a fetch land on their turn and pass, and then fetch it at the end of your turn, gain another 4 life.
Yes, that is how an Omnath would do.
When one land drop out of their hand negates multiple turns of your attacks, you know you're in a bad situation.
Yeah, as it stands, it's not looking very good for the hammer player. There are outs. If he can find a Pierce Steel Paladin or another hammer, better yet, he could potentially one-shot him with this Inkmoth.
Well, so the issue here you're seeing, though, is he's only got 2 cards in his hand, whereas this Yorion player has 4, and he's going to potentially draw cards off the value he gets from...
he does have the Pierce Steel, but there's not quite enough artifacts. But if he gets to untap reasonably and keep all of his permanents, he can play the that cranial plating he fetched up, draw a card, and maybe try to make something happen.
He's going to need to... there's another Subtlety.
Solitude, you mean. Yeah, Solitude, really strong here.
Yes, that was correct. Subtlety is the blue one, but yes, Solitude getting rid of that Pierce Steel Paladin. Looks like he's running out of options here. It looks like this Yorion player is going to get there. And that was hardcast, so it looks like it stays in play.
Everybody thought Grief was going to be the best one, but I don't know. Solitude putting in some work.
And you see,
he can just beat him down with this stuff.
We can see on the monitors here, but you can see on the page, he just keeps adding life and adding life every time he plays those lands. It's just going to be real hard. It's infect or bust now.
He's already back up to 17.
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
Like I said, it's infect or bust for this Hammer Time player, and so he's really got to be looking at what are my options? How do I make that happen?
Well, what's the life from the solitude put his opponent back to 20. So Ethan decides to fetch down to 16. And I'm wondering at this point, I mean, he doesn't really have any big over the top
Well, now he
one-turn
gets
wins.
that 4 mana from Omnath, so I think this puts him in range to both put and then cast Yorion into his hand. And then
Yeah.
he blinks everything, exiles another creature,
Draws
draws
a
2
card.
cards, gains another life, potentially off of
Yeah.
Omnath.
No, he'd draw 3 cards.
Yeah, he would draw 3 cards.
I can't
He would
remember.
exile
Does
another
Abundant
creature.
Harvest, does it enter or do you sack it?
It's when it enters because he's been playing it off.
That's
entering.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, this is what you like to see. He's got a Teferi, and it looks like an expedition map.
No, sorry. It's not. I think it's called it's not Abundant Harvest. That's the sorcery. I'm trying to remember the name of this card, but it doesn't matter. It turns out the
Hammer Time saw the writing on the wall.
missing the right payoff cards is not quite good enough. But back here at the booth, we're going to go ahead and pull deck list so we can check out the sideboards of these players, and we'll be right back checking out what we think their sideboard plan might be. Draw 3 cards. He's going to kill one of my creatures. This is bad. So
Yeah.
at this point, he saw the writing on the wall. He didn't like get attacked to death, but he's just like, yeah, I can't win this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened with Affinity back in the day. You know, you would have all your 0 mana 0/2s and 1/1s and like really small creatures, but you would use a Ravager or a Cranial Plating to like pay off the going wide and having no cards in hand. And even though the cards are different, that's similar to the strategy of Hammer Time. You know, you have your hammer, you have something else like that, and the Yorion player just is full of high value cards and just dealt with the threats.
So looking at the Yorion player's deck, I really like these Engineer Explosives. He only plays 2 in an 80 card deck. That's a little weird, but they could come in. They could be a huge issue. Like you could easily set those on 1 or 2 and just take out your opponent's entire board. The Endurance, not so much. I'm not thinking that. Mystical Dispute, not really going to be a big card. I think this Engineer Explosives is going to be his play. He might bring in Emrakul if he thinks he can just outrace and ramp, but I'm not optimistic.
So Veil Summon Emrakul, probably not really what you want to be doing. Flush the Storm, probably not. Yeah, there's not a lot of options here, but it turns out 80 cards in your deck means you have a lot of different cards to use. Now, Blossoming Claim, I mean, it gains life, but the hexproof just doesn't seem all that useful.
Now, for the Hammer Time player, he's got some Thoughtseize, he's got Prismatic Ending, Soulguide Lantern. He's got a lot of tools that he can use to just try to like value into the game. Just like slow his opponent down, keep him from developing.
It's interesting though. I think it's a little better, but both of these players' sideboards aren't super optimal. I mean, Thoughtseize is really the only card I'm seeing here that's like super good. All of the like Prismatic Ending, there's not a lot of creature. I mean, I guess they can hit Abundant Growth, but that seems kind of bad.
Yeah, it could just be that these players didn't really anticipate this matchup as much, or they chose not to sideboard for this matchup on both sides. And it's going to be interesting to see if it continues to go like it's going. Though that does look like it favors the Yorion player because he's got enough juice. He can just blunt your attack and just outlast you. And then now he's drawing cards, gaining life, and you're just sitting there with no cards in hand and some really awkward 1/2s.
So Matthew just mulligan here. How do you feel about mulliganing when you play an 80 card deck?
I mean, I think what you're going to see with the 80 card decks and like kind of looking over the list, the important cards are 4-ofs. Every other card is kind of like 1-ofs with toolbox options. So you can have some inconsistent hands with that, but it also means like when you draw your good stuff pretty much as you think. And 1680, like I said, it's about 30% more cards. So it's like every third card you'd see a different card than you normally would as far as consistency goes. So it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Looks like he likes his hand. He might be a little heavy on lands, but he's got Ice Fang. He's got two good 2-drops.
He's got that Ice Fang. He's got
Looks like
Ren and
his
6.
colors. I can't tell what the other card is, but he's got plenty of lands, so he's going to bottom one of them. Especially with that Ren and 6, can just keep the lands coming.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you can like use Ren and 6 to ping key creatures if they have a slow clock on you, it's gonna be a
I'm trying
bad
to
day.
see what are some spicy things he could be doing here. There's really no just big over the top win. There's no like scape shift into or bring light to scape shift, nothing like that.
Okay, looks like Matthew
Right,
starts
we are
with
beginning.
yeah.
I would say Omnath is his strongest like power card.
Springleaf Mimnite into Sigarda's 80. You love to see it. It almost makes that Springleaf drum feel almost like a Mox because you just paid 1 for it and your creature wasn't going to attack anyway.
Yeah, it'll definitely give him 3 mana on turn number 2, but he may not be able to do that and attack. So if he can just naturally draw a hammer, that'll help him a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
He just wants to get the game over fast. The longer the game goes, the more it's going to favor the 80 card deck player.
yeah, the best tutor is a good top deck, so ripping that hammer off the top and just coming in for 11 would be what he'd want to do.
So I think his hand is another Sigarda's Aid. I think I saw Stoneforge Mystic. I'm not certain. I didn't get a good look. He's pretty quick at that flicker. Something I'm still working on getting better at. Oh, Prismatic Ending does buy him time, but if it turns out to be another Sigarda's Aid, that might just pay off.
Yeah, that's what you call tempo play, right? Like he can
White
replay the Sigarda's Aid, but it takes more of his mana, more of his
Look
time.
at that white border Ornithopter. That's a lot of respect.
Yeah. All right, we got Stoneforge Mystic coming out. You know it's coming. It's going to
So
be.
if he gets Hammer here,
hammer
that really
time.
telegraphs another Sigarda's Aid, I think, because
Not
plating
necessarily.
here would be pretty decent because I mean the hammer's just going to sit in your hand otherwise, right?
Well, he clearly has Metalcraft, so he could be trying to head fake him into thinking, oh, he's got the Pure Steel Paladin. I'll just be able to like,
Yeah,
you
maybe.
know, get rid of it before he can equip.
Ooh, Solitude. That's a good pickup. Does he have another white card, though? I think he has Teferi. And he has Omnath. So Omnath is a white card.
It is,
And a blue card.
as it turns out.
And a red card. So if I'm... having the Solitude is going to make me feel better. I'd personally rather not pitch my Omnath knowing that Omnath is like my best way to win. Ice Fang Quaddle blocks, but his mana is not very good for an Ice Fang Quaddle here. Sacred Foundry does not cast Ice Fang Quaddle.
As it turns out, it doesn't. And that's part of his plan, though. He fetched it on purpose. Like, he was thinking ahead. I'm getting the Sacred Foundry. I mean, he could have gotten probably the blue-white land.
Yeah, that's true. That the Ice Fang was in his opening hand. But it's not going to be anywhere near... it's not going to be anywhere near having Death Touch, to be honest. With 0 snow permanents in play.
Really thinking about... He's probably going for Ren and 6 here, get back one of his fetches, or ping the Mimnite down. Because that's, you know, one less power he has to deal with. But I don't really hate the Yorion's position here. I don't really see
there's no payoff card yet. That
Well,
hammer...
he's got that Sigarda 8 and the hammer.
Yeah.
But that's not going to kill him. You know,
does
and
he
he's
have
going to have...
I think he does, but I can't get a good look.
Oh, chooses to get back the land, making his land drops.
Yeah, there's already more than one attacker for the hammer, so there's really no point.
This is actually a really bad spot because you're already down on cards.
Oh, there it is.
And,
that's scary.
Yep.
So, let's see. Ethan's at 15. Matthew's at 17. And that's definitely a 2-turn clock as it is. But the Solitude can just brick this whole plan.
I'm a little curious as to why he attacked with the Ornithopter and didn't use it for Springleaf Drum. Like, I get attacking first and then doing the hammer later. But attacking with the Ornithopter, I'm not sure what he's telegraphing there. He doesn't have another land.
Yeah, that's a good point. Being declared an attacker, no mana, doesn't represent anything I can think of, at least.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with any 0 mana artifact flash creatures, unfortunately. All right. Ethan is thinking.
Solitude just doing a lot of work. Just knowing that you have that, like, okay, I can at least do that and survive.
Esper Sentinel.
Yeah, he needs to find lands.
This will help him get some of that card advantage back. Decides to attack with the Ornithopter again. He can definitely use the Esper Sentinel to put the hammer in play.
I really like how Hammer Time evolved from being just like one of those like donation bonus league decks to being a top contender with just a few cards from the new set.
I mean, it's not that complicated of a formula. When you can hit for big damage really fast, usually there's going to be a form of that deck that's going to be good.
The problem with it, like the formula for Hammer was around, but the new cards gave it the consistency if you didn't get Hammer. It gave you like extra things to do, especially Urza Saga. Like that was
There's a Saga, the engineer that digs cards into your deck that lets you play other equipment and not be hosed. All right, look at that. We're looking at 2 mana card. Oh, there comes the Ice Fang.
So having the extra blocker is perfect. Solitude is going to be your like insurance policy in case something goes wrong.
All right, yep, there it is. Stop Hammer Time.
But the problem is Hammer Time is going to be stopped first because when the target of the equip, he's got that Solitude, so you're not going to be gaining no 11 or 10 life.
Yeah.
You're going to gain 0, and you're just going to have this useless hammer in play.
Yep.
And taking 1 or 2 damage a turn isn't going to win a game. Well, Ethan is at 9.
Did you see how fast he just like basically traded off his board and is basically at no threat at this point? And
yeah, just killing that Sentinel.
Killing the Sentinel. Don't want to give him cards.
And he doesn't get to draw a card off the Solitude because it's a creature. It only triggers off non-creatures.
Yeah, those pitch elementals doing work. They also can't be force negation. They're just really good.
Yeah, no, the pitch elementals, honestly, might have been the biggest power increase of a like cycle printed since I don't even know. I guess since the original Forces.
Now,
so Modern Horizons
what you're seeing here, though, is like he did have the answers, but that was a potentially lethal attack. You know, he was at 10. So that hammer connecting would have been game over. So it's going to be interesting.
He's at 8 right now, but
with
one hammer attack, it's just he's dead.
All right, this expressive iteration, probably he's going to put this Omnath in his hand and then take a land.
Is that a lightning bolt? I couldn't tell.
Yeah. He's going to play land or choose not to play land. Yep.
Yeah, it looks like it was.
Oh, finds a second land drop.
Okay, so
now we got Cranial Plating.
I think that's a Pure Steel Paladin.
And a Pure Steel Paladin.
Problem is he can't play both, so he's going to have to take a turn off. I think you need to play the Pure Steel first.
Yeah, right? I mean, attack for 1, and there's an Ice Fang.
Ice Fang does not have Death Touch.
Not yet.
This is just a fog. No. Yeah, he's like, I only got 2 betas. You have to have 4, right?
3, I believe. Yeah.
Is it 3 other? I think it's 3 other.
Yeah,
he counts as a snow permanent, but you have to have 3 other snow permanents. Okay.
All right. Here comes the Omnath, followed by that land.
The life cushion is good because it means he's not 1 hit from death. Oh, no, but he does. Oh, he does have land. Okay. So this is going to put him to 12. So a hammer on pretty much all of the creatures in this deck, except for, I guess, Pure Steel Paladin, will not be a lethal attack.
Omnath's just doing so much work in this tournament. From the Elementals list to the Yorion list, there's so many plays where, yeah, sure, I'll play a land, gain 4 life. I'll play a land, get 4 more mana.
He was able to instep flash in the equipment.
Yep, that's Sigarda's doing work.
He doesn't get to draw the card in the sequence, but now he can 0 mana equip and have a massive attack, but he'll just chump block. I think the fact that Omnath draws a card, he doesn't go down on cards, he can chump block. But just honestly, as it stands, I don't think he has an answer. Oh, now he does.
Yeah.
So what do you bounce here? Do you bounce the stone? I mean, there's no good answer.
Well,
actually.
I can't tell if he has a fetch land or not. He can definitely get one off of the Renin 6, but what you could easily do,
Play
once you have
Omnath
Ice
first.
Fang Quaddle active, all you got to do, you bounce the Pure Steel Paladin, and then you flash in the Quaddle, and then you just block, and then they're in a bad place. You know he's got no cards in hand. That's probably what I would do. I would just get a land back with Renin 6. I would fetch a Snow Basic, and then I would bounce the Pure Steel Paladin.
No, wait. So he minus to kill the Pierce Paladin.
That's also a decent play.
It takes all his mana, though. He could have played Omnath. No, he doesn't have a fetch line already in his hand. Yeah, he couldn't do both.
Okay, Abundant Growth, draw a card, get another Renin 6.
No, you cannot cast Renin 6 with Basic Island.
Fortunately, that is true.
But he has the quad.
Land for turn.
Is that a Wooded Foothills? I can't
they're
tell.
Abundant
No, I
Growth.
think it's Stomping Ground. No, I think it is Wooded Foothills. So he had the fetch line. He could have done all this and have a Omnath in play. Or does he have an Omnath in his hand? I actually don't think he does.
No, I still would have liked the Teferi Quaddle play a little bit better. When you know your opponent's top decking, I'm not sure what top deck he was playing around there. I mean, he could have easily had a Teferi on board and killed both of his creatures, or taken both of his creatures off the board. I guess if you bounce the Pure Steel Paladin, he could just replay it and then re-equip, and that's a bad. So maybe you...
So now the Quaddle has Death Touch. So he's going to be able to flash it in, trade with the Stoneforge. And honestly, I think that might be the game.
He's not even going to flash. He's just going to play it. Be like, here is my snake. What are you going to do about it? And this is actually kind of a risky play because...
Okay, this gives trample.
Yes.
So at least he'll get a big hit in. Actually, that's enough.
And he
because he's only at
scoops it
11.
up.
He's only at 11 with the with that cranial plating. That's going to be lethal. The trample will kill him.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like we're going to go to a game number 3. So back here at the booth, I don't really foresee any differences in sideboarding between play draw. So they're probably just going to maybe look at the sideboard, shuffle up, and get back to the game. So we're going to give them a few minutes to do that, and we'll be right back after this break.
All right, we are back.
In
Game three.
Our Yorion player is going to be on the play, and that's good.
Gives him that tempo advantage.
The best card in the matchup for him to have at most times is either Solitude or Ice Fang. It just kind of depends, but the fact that Solitude is 0 mana, it's just insane. Like, that card is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we saw in last game, I guess the card he should have played around was that Shadow Spear off the top, but I still thought he was in a good position. His opponent was top decking. He had the answers in his hand, and, you know, sometimes you get them, sometimes you get got.
It does show that it's definitely a good top tier deck, but Hammer Time can be really fragile. Like, if the pieces don't come together perfectly right a lot of the time, and you just fall apart and die.
Yeah. What's interesting, we haven't seen an actual Yorion casted yet, so that'll be interesting if we can get that in this game.
Yeah, like a Yorion deck. This Yorion deck is just value. It's just like high card quality, many different cards, go late, stop what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you can almost think about it as like a 5-color control deck that just has a really good payoff card.
Yeah, I think it might. Is there any black in it? Let me check real quick. It might just be a 4-color deck. It's like a 4-color Omnath Yorion deck.
Looks like we got a Thoughtseize turn 1 coming out of Matthew. I'm going to say he's taking that Fury because that's something that can really mess up his early game.
Yeah.
Looks like he
Sometimes
agrees
Ren
with
6
me.
is also bad, but there's 2 of them. So, yeah, you just got to take that Fury. Luckily,
Yeah, I mean-
this hand is actually not like amazing because he can't play any of his red spells. Okay, now he can play his red spells.
Until he draws a fetch land, and now everything is good. So we're probably going to see an expressive iteration on 2 since he's not pressuring him at all. This just lets him filter and find those answers.
I'm not a big fan of expressive iteration on 2, but you should use your mana.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to do here?
Yeah.
I mean, you need an answer to what he's going to end up doing.
He kept that hand literally on the back of Fury, and then it gets thought seized, and then top deck the mountain, get wrecked.
That's definitely possible. I mean, keeping the Renin 6, the duplicate Renin 6, probably to pitch to Fury does give that indication. I still don't know if I say it's kept off the back of Fury. But I actually am going to mention I don't like the Thoughtseize turn 1 as a play into this deck because you need to be doing something turn 1. You need to be putting power on the board. You need to be shortening the time it takes for you to get that lethal attack set up. Taking a whole turn off to Thoughtseize, we're going to see that it's costing him already. He's got this active Renin 6. He's got an expressive in his hand if he wants to dig for an answer. It's just, I don't like that play. I don't think the tempo loss is worth it in this kind of a matchup anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like his hand didn't have the fast hammer game plan, but I think he had the Esper Sentinel. So he could have gotten a card off this Renin 6, but Renin 6 probably would have just taken out the Esper Sentinel.
Well, not only that necessarily, but he could have also potentially had bigger golems off of this Urza Saga coming up.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, resolving this expressive iteration. Looks like we're going to have that prismatic ending for the Sigarda's Aid.
Oh, man, so good. So, Ethan fetching down to... Well, he's at 16 right now, I think. He shocked turn... No, he didn't shock turn 1. He fetched turn 1.
Probably getting a dual land that taps for white.
Or turn 2, but yeah. He's definitely getting white mana. Might as well just take it out now, right?
Yeah, for sure. There it is.
Just because it's also just efficient card, sequencing. He doesn't go down on
Gets
the card.
that land back. You're seeing this Renin 6 do work. He's just going to hit land drops on time.
You cannot let this Renin 6 ultimate, though. Absolutely can't, because he's just going to loop. He can just loop his prismatic ending on every single permanent.
Yeah, that's not where you want to be.
Actually, hang on just a second. I didn't see it because they may have said it verbally. But doesn't he have...
Flourish, yeah.
Yeah. I don't see it on screen, but they probably just verbally announced it. Or it's revealed and not on the camera, but Omnath coming down here pretty strong.
Renin 6.
I'm not going to lie, it's not looking good for our hammer player here.
Got his golem. Now he gets to go search. Is he going to make another golem?
Well, let's see. He's
trying
got
to get some
hammer,
pressure.
but no aid.
Yep, he's going to make another golem.
He's setting up for the long game.
Yeah.
So what do you get here? Do you get Shadow Spear? Do you get Springleaf Drum?
Honestly, Shadow Spear is not a bad idea, but Pithing Needle
so
on...
what do you name? Do you name Scalding Tarn? Do you name Renin 6? He has 2 Renin 6 in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to name Renin 6, but that's what I would do in this board state.
Renin 6 is already at 6 loyalty.
Because being able to do those fetches every turn is going to push him way ahead. We could see a Yorion next turn. It's not really good, but I'm saying he'd have that much mana because of the Renin 6 plus the Omnath. It's just too much of a value engine. Now, they're not nice enough to put those little written tokens on so we actually know what happened, but it looks like we're coming in for 4. You also got to think those Pithing Needles grow the golems as well, so...
Yeah.
He's just going to take it because, I mean, that's just what? 1 land drop?
Yeah, it puts him to 15. I'm sorry, 12.
Yeah,
He's at 15.
Puts him to 12, but he is going to get that 4 life back. He's going to play that Scalding Tarn in his hand. He's going to trigger Omnath.
Yeah, he's going to have a crazy turn. I think he might have a Solitude in his hand.
And he's going to fetch. He's going to get the bonus mana from Omnath.
So if you're playing the Yorion deck right now, what's your priority? Is your priority to stabilize the board and just out quality? Is the board the more important thing? You don't want to let those golems get to 5/5 or bigger.
Well, we're seeing from the sideboard plans from the Hammer Time player, he probably doesn't have a lot of removal. Whatever removal he may have been playing outside of Prismatic Ending, he probably sided out. So he probably really doesn't have a great answer to this Omnath, except making a huge guy and that you have to block.
Oh, actually, yeah. I think I like this play. You don't want to give him more cards. You want to run him out of cards. You want to like that's how he won his first game.
And he's going to ephemerate it to exile one of the golems, shrinking the other one all the way down to a 2. Now that guy can't really attack at all, and he's going to bolt.
Look at nice efficiency.
Disrespect, just chaining perfectly so that he can just get max value.
Taking out the Sentinel too.
And now he really has his choice because that Ephemerate's sitting there, going to rebound next turn. He can ephemerate his Omnath to draw cards, or he can ephemerate his Solitude to exile another creature if he plays.
Ephemerate. So. It's crazy how just rebound makes an existing card actually like constructed playable.
Yeah, I've heard card advantage is good. Getting to use a card twice, pretty good as it turns out.
Yeah,
flashback, rebound.
These elementals are really what makes it see play.
And he scoops it up, yes. And this is what I expected. The Omnath deck is just too value, too much, too fast.
Yeah, it's definitely good. So back here at the booth, we were checking through some of the deck lists here, and a lot of the Yorion decks play escape ship necessarily, but like a bring to light package, and he's opting like, you know what? No, I just want as many high quality cards as I can get, and in a field like this, I can see that working out. 80 cards is difficult to manage.
Well, what's ironic, though, is you were mentioning with the Bring to Light package, they can slide into that Valakut plan real easy. They just need one Valakut, one Scape Ship to the side, and they can just get people on 7 or 8.
Possibly, yeah. Usually you probably want to have some of those Dryads, but it's not necessary. But congratulations to him to making the finals. We'll be right back setting up that finals match for you.